Hello Space Cadets, it's your pal Vector Spaceman once again, coming to you live from Harbor Station, broadcasting on all frequencies to our beautiful planet Earth. Whether you're watching us live or after the show tonight, we're glad to have you on board. Thanks for helping us make outer space the place to be, as we get set to rocket into another session of all the things we like to love and love to share. Oh, we got action in the chat already. Hello Salty, hope you're having a great day. Thanks for tuning in. We had a little bit of technical glitch there at the start. Had to manually move on over to the station screen here, but it looks like we're good to go now. Now today's Monday, December 20th, 2021. Welcome to the show, everybody. We're getting started today with our holiday stream week. Every day this week will either be holiday-themed, in-game events, or some other festive connection. It's going to be a short week, though. We'll only be broadcasting up to and including Thursday, and then we'll be back next week after the holidays have wound down. So tune in while you can. We're going to have a lot of fun this week. If you missed the last show, we actually capped off last week's schedule with some more holiday festivities, playing some Rocket League winter events. It's been a minute since we last got behind the wheel, but we managed to make some killer plays, made some new friends on stream, and decked out the Vector Space Van in all sorts of holiday-themed items. You know, we gotta pimp that ride, as it were. Now, to stay up to date with all of our broadcasts, of course, be sure to follow Vector Spaceman on Twitter, YouTube, and right here on Twitch. So, Space Cadets, what are we up to today? Well, last week we had an unexpected open slot in our schedule, so we took the opportunity to do a little on-air art stream, making some festive assets for the channel, the holiday scarf that we got on our model here, all the way from sketching to rigging to testing it out on air. And it turned out to be a great time, informative for people who are interested in live 2D modeling and rigging, plus since our model is so comparatively simple, we can make edits on the fly within the span of a single stream. It's fun stuff. But there's more I'd like to add on to our winter outfit, so we're going to continue making assets, putting some winter mitts, I think, onto our model, and if we have any more time after that, maybe we can start decking the halls here at Harbor Station with some background assets, maybe some lights, some wreaths, whatever we can come up with. Drop some ideas in the chat if you're listening live, we'll see what we can get done tonight. Hey, we got more action in the chat. Ellie of the Nova Swarm. Hiya, Spaceman. Hello. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're having a great day. Now, as I was just mentioning, we have a shorter schedule this week, so let's take a look at that, shall we? Let everybody see what we have in store here. So this week, here's what we've got to look forward to over the next few days. Let's see what's going on. Today, of course, the 20th, we're doing our holiday art stream, and then the next couple days, we're going to be doing some in-game winter-themed events for both Halo and Team Fortress 2. And finally, on Thursday, we're going to be playing a new game called SantaCraft, which is a sort of a top-down, what would be the best way to describe it? Kind of like games like RimWorld, or like that sort of perspective, over the top, very wide angle. And the idea is to help rebuild Santa's village, a very short, I think 3 or 4 hour game, something like that. We'll see how far we can get through it. SantaCraft isn't like Minecraft, in a sense, I suppose. There's some building elements to it, there is some crafting elements to it. I've never played it myself, but I had it recommended to me, and since it fit the holiday theme, we're going to try it out on Thursday, so we'll see what it's all about once we get there. Tune in for that, should be a fun time, and very on brand for the holidays, as it were. Now, you can always find the current week's schedule pinned to our Twitter page, which you can find in the About section here on Twitch, or directly at twitter.com/vector_spaceman. Alright, on with the show then. Now before we begin, as always, we want to give a quick shout out and salute. Put them on blast, our favorite followers and members of the community. You know we love to see familiar faces on the show, Space Cadets. So for those of you listening live, always feel free to drop a comment in the chat and join the conversation. People like Ellie here, people like Salty, you know we love to hear from them. Oh, now let me pull up that tablet again, because we're going to need that. And let me just scroll down here to our image showcase. And we're going to pull up today's featured streamer. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the very grand Goose Plays Metal. Now, Goose here has been keeping the hype alive in our streams lately. A wonderful addition to our crew of Space Cadets. I want to thank him so much for joining us and encourage everybody to check him out. Not only does he have a great model, and I think model is the right term, even though it's not animated for motion capture or anything like that, but the Metal Goose concept is a great design. I'm actually a big fan of any virtual streamers, whether they're 2D, 3D, or as some like to say, PNG streamers, those limited to a few static images. I've seen plenty of people without animated models who still have great broadcasting presence. And frankly, if I had known that people actually did that sort of thing, I might have gotten into the streaming game a lot earlier. So people, don't feel as though you need state-of-the-art 3D or live 2D models in order to get into virtual streaming. The truth is, it's all about what you don't see that matters, which is to say, the person behind the screen. OMG Metal Goose. Yes, Goose is great. And that lets us circle back to Goose here. He's not just a wonderful friend of the show, but he's also streaming games himself. So check him out on Twitch at twitch.tv/gooseplaysmetal, all one word. He's streaming lots of shooter games, especially Apex Legends. You know we're a fan of the genre here on the channel. So give him a look if you're seeking out chill streams to enjoy. Goose, I'm so glad you found us. Thanks for helping out the channel. And wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day. You know, it's always so nice to meet new people on stream, and especially those who decide to join our group of Space Cadets by following the channel, which reminds me, of course, listeners, that we're creeping closer and closer to that 50 follower milestone we're looking to hit by the new year, so that we can start 2022 off right with fun new ways to engage with viewers here on the show. We've sent our letters to Santa, but even he can't guarantee that we'll make it. It'll all come down to our viewers. So if you like what you see here tonight, consider helping out the channel with a follow. It don't cost a dime, and you'll always be tuned in when we go live. Alright, Space Cadets, let's get started with today's show proper then. Let's get comfy and cozy and pour ourselves a little holiday cheer, shall we? As we relax, chit-chat, and make a little live 2D magic as we continue working on our holiday outfit. Let me pull up the tablet, because I'm going to need to be drawing on this here. And let's head on over to the big screen. Dukil's in the chat. Hi, Spaceman. Well, how are you doing? Thanks for tuning in tonight. I hope you're well. We're going to be doing something fun tonight. We're doing a little more art stream here on the channel, trying to outfit our holiday outfit for the season, add a few more assets, and if we finish that in time, we'll try to deck out the rest of the space station too, with any ideas that anybody might have to make it a little festive. Alright, let me just move us over here now. There we go, and let's go ahead and pull up Adobe Flash. This is where we start. And let's make things just a little more comfy cozy here. There we go, with some nice holiday jazz. Make sure my cursor's working here. Oh, coincidence. I'm actually drawing myself too. This will be a cozy stream to have open. Most definitely, most definitely. And what are you working on tonight? Let us know. Now, for those of you who didn't see the last art stream that we did, where we started working on this little festive scarf that we've got on right now, we've got a bit of a roundabout process that we go through when working on the Spaceman model. And this is because all of the Spaceman assets were originally designed in the now defunct Adobe Flash, and this is to try and capture that mid-2000s internet aesthetic that we love so much. Also because it's just the vector imaging program that I'm most familiar with from back in the day. So we know all the tips and tricks to really get our workflow streaming, flying. Now today what we're gonna do, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna try to work on some mitts. Some of those big whole hand festive winter mittens that you see, big fluffy things. And since it's just going to be an overlay basically of our existing hand assets, we're basically just going to be tracing over a lot of what we have and filling it out and then applying it as a separate layer, a toggleable layer controlled by a parameter within Live 2D. So we're going to see the whole process from start to finish. Ellie's saying, that's interesting. I haven't actually seen any other VTubers use Flash for assets. Well, that's probably because it's not, strictly speaking, a good idea, I guess. As an imaging program, Flash is definitely not ideal. Like if you wanted to commit to using vector graphics, you'd probably want to use something like Illustrator, which is a more dedicated, well, it's in the name there, isn't it? Illustration program. Flash is really more for web assets, I guess, would be the best way to describe it, which of course is why it was so popularly used way back in the day for internet animation and games and stuff like that, because it could load things so readily. But part of the reason that it could load things so readily was of course because the, what do you call it? The vector images, assets, are of course all mathematical, as opposed to capturing every single pixel in every single position, as you might with the raster data. What you're essentially doing is storing arc data and fill data, which allows you to transfer it a lot more efficiently over the web. Nefaltonen is in the chat. Our first time chat, more action in the chat, our fellow space tuber. I hope you're having a great evening. Thanks for tuning in. Now, I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing that correctly as well, because it's been a while since I've been following some of Nef's streams, but rarely do I hear anybody try to pronounce her name. And my understanding is Nefaltonen is an actual name that I have heard pronounced before, which is why I pronounce it the way that I do. But if it's different, if I'm messing it up in some way, please do let me know. I don't want to get these things wrong. You've been such a wonderful new friend of the channel. We want to show you all the respect that you're due. I'm doing well, hope you're well too. We're doing pretty good tonight. We're going to be working on some more assets for the Spaceman model. The name gets pronounced all different ways at this point. I don't honestly know. You're probably doing it right. All right, well, we'll keep it up. If you ever land on something different, do let us know, and we'll update our verbiage. But as I was saying, the reason that we use Flash is just because it's most familiar to us. We started using Flash back when it wasn't even Adobe Flash, back when it was Macromedia Flash, back in, must have been around 2003 or 2004, when Flash 7 and 8 were coming out. It's changed hands and gone through different iterations since then, and of course been completely abandoned in favor of, well, I guess the successor program to it would be the new Adobe Animate. But we do still love our old Creative Suite 6 version of Adobe Flash. Alright, so what we're going to do first, we're just going to create ourselves a new layer here. And we're going to choose a very visible color, something I can see, that we'll use just to sketch over a lot of this stuff. And we'll turn on our pen tools. And we'll tab over to that audio and just turn it down a little bit. And as we were. So first things first, we'll just rough out some mitten shapes. We're going to want a whole hand mitten that covers the whole thing. And we'll go back afterward and add some more details. I mean, that's a real easy one there. Also, one of the reasons that we use Flash is because we like how janky it can look when you're using pen tablets on it. There's a sort of, I like to describe it as being a imperfect perfection, or perfect imperfection, in the way that it can look all scraggly and whatnot. And that's a relic of the mid-2000s too, isn't it? You'd see all sorts of janky animations online. So we'll want to keep them about the same shape as our base assets. And then we'll add patterning and details on top of it. But the mitts themselves will be pretty easy to do. We just want something that looks big and fluffy and fun. Ellie says, honestly, one of the things that drew me to your channel was your art style. Well, thanks for that. Oh, look at this. Aoi Echo has joined the Space Cadets. Well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for giving us the follow there. I hope you like what we're putting down tonight. Doing a little artistic stream here. Oh, and we got action in the chat. Look at this, keeping the hype alive in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining the Space Cadets. You're in good company here tonight. Ellie's keeping track here. That should be follower 50. That's right. So if anybody wanted to jump ship now and keep us working for it, now would be the time. But that's right. Nifty 50 followers right here. Aoi Echo makes number 50. We hit our goal for the new year already with what? A week and change to go. Oh, did anybody else feel that? I think we got a bit of a lag spike right there. But thanks so much for that, Aoi Echo. You mind if I just call you Echo? Does that work for you? You make number 50. Salty says time to unfollow. Yep. Well, job's done. You did your part, Salty. Get out of here. Echo's fine? Nice, nice. Yeah, so we got 50. And the reason that we were gunning for that 50, of course, is because that's the sort of milestone that Twitch wants you to reach in order to unlock some extra options for the channel in terms of how to interact with viewers and such like that. So that means that by the time that they actually figure out that our follower update has updated, it usually takes them a few days to get to these things, that we might start to be able to start introducing things like channel points and voice commands and all sorts of fun stuff. Affiliate will be our Christmas gift? That's nice, isn't it? Oh, it could be perfectly timed. That would be great to come back after the break this week and start implementing all that stuff. Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be good fun. Let me check some of these messages that we just missed there. Neff saying it's a nice art style too. Yeah. And one of the things that people might have noticed or might not have noticed about the art style in terms of our purposeful imperfection is that we have absolutely no symmetry on the model. So even though it would have been pretty easy to just copy paste a bunch of this assets, we wanted to make sure that everything felt super janky on purpose. So that's why everything is technically done twice when it comes to hands and arms and things like that. A little extra work for us, but nothing we can't handle. Probably the most complex hand asset we have is the game controller one that we use. Mossmellow's in the chat. Hey! Did you just get here or did you sneak in earlier and I didn't notice you? Did you hear 50? Yep. Congrats, thanks so much. Mossmellow, of course, is one of our earliest followers. Thanks for sticking around so long. You've been a great friend of the channel. And you know what? I'm just super psyched that we were able to get here in what feels like pretty short order. You know, it hasn't even been 2 months since we started streaming. We set ourselves our first goal, which was 30 and 30. Just because we were getting close to it, we thought, oh, well, why not? Why not strive for it, right? And by the second month we came around, we were like, all right, well, let's try to keep up that same energy. Can we get to 50 by the end of December? And look at that. With time to spare, even. Mossmellow says, oh gosh, well, your content is totes worth it. Thanks so much. Now, trying to wrap a kind of winter mitten around the game controller here is going to look a little funny. We may still be able to get it. How would that work? It could sort of be stretched, kind of like that. Yeah. I just noticed I must have used some other reference when I was making the controller asset, because this is definitely not how I hold a controller. I actually didn't know beforehand. I had this discussion a little while ago with some people. Like, I knew about some maniacs who hold controllers in like this weird claw grip. I'm sure some people have seen that. allows them to hit buttons different and stuff like that. But to me, it always felt naturally. I always held controllers with my middle finger on the triggers, and that left me with the index finger for the buttons. And I thought, oh, that's just the way you do it. But turns out there's tons of people who do sort of like what's seen here, just everything with the index finger. Claw grip is superior, says, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you even warp your hand into that sort of position. It feels like it would be super uncomfortable. Let's see, we can make this a little thicker here. And then we just show that being sort of stretched. You do middle finger on trigger as well, Ellie? Okay. You had to grab your controller to test. Yeah, right? It just feels... You don't even think about it most of the time, right? You just do what feels natural. Salty saying, I know people use the claw grip for for Monster Hunter, really? Neff says, I only claw grip for specific games, though, like Dark Souls. Otherwise, middle finger on the triggers. Huh. A versatile grip. So this is going to be our base rough sketches. Oh, we got the grip hand as well. This won't be super easy. It's basically just a solid ball of yarn is what it'll end up being. Echo says, Neff, after listening to you play Bard songs manually in Final Fantasy XIV, I'm surprised you don't have arthritis or carpal tunnel. I didn't know you did that, Neff. Played Bard songs. I know that there's a bunch of games, MMOs and what have you. I always like when they include stuff like that, ways to creatively interact with the world. Manual Bard. Might be as difficult as trying to play a real instrument. Wow. To be fair, I have a literal piano keyboard I plug into my PC. You know what? That was something that I'd considered doing before I bought what I do use now, which is this Stream Deck that I got over to the side here for different keys. But I've got an old keyboard here, a piano keyboard that is, with a USB connection. I thought, well, would that work? Figure if we were doing something like a soundboard or something, it'd be great for that. Oh, you play a lot of instruments in real life. Well, that's great. You did caramel dancing? Nice, nice. All right, now let's start fleshing some of these out, shall we? Usually people don't see the pointing finger that's behind the tablet that we use, but we still want to include that one in our mitten design. So let me disable, there we go. Outlines black at least. And we're gonna have to choose colors. I was thinking the same red as the scarf and then with green and white accents. I thought that might look good. We just want to make sure we've got basically the same line thickness as everything else. You can see how the lines sort of contort and try to smooth themselves when we edit them sometimes. This is because that's just trying to optimize the vector math. I like when we got these little jankies hanging off the side sometimes. Gives the model character, that's what people tune in for. Our bizarro art. What app are we using to draw this? We are using a super old version of Adobe Flash, which is a program they don't even make anymore, but which I've been using for vector art endeavors since, I was a much younger spaceman. The ancient ancestor of Adobe Animate, that's true. So Animate became sort of the successor to the Flash. Why? I'm not entirely sure. But if you were to purchase the Creative Cloud services, you'd get Photoshop, Illustrator, and then all the other stuff in Animate instead of Flash. They sort of sunset the whole program and did their own thing. Because originally, Flash was not an Adobe program. It was actually developed by... oh geez, it wasn't even Macromedia who first developed it. But they were the ones who owned the property when I first got involved with it. The superior version from what you heard? What, Flash is? Or Animate is? I would assume Animate's gotta have something extra going on. Now let me open up the scarf that we worked on last time. So I just want to get the right colors. Make ourselves a little palette here. Base and highlight color, or shadow color, I suppose. We can pull from that when we need to. Fill in some of this spot that gets caught up here. Emily says, I think I had Macromedia version on an older laptop. It's possible. Flash 8, I believe, was the last Macromedia version, after which it got bought out by Adobe. Echo says, the send-off Flash got from its users really says something about it compared to how I haven't heard much of Animate. I'd have to look into it more to be sure. I guess that's true. Well, you don't hear about Animate because it doesn't have its own proprietary file type that gets used, does it? Like Flash was, you had Swift files, SWF files, which were synonymous with animation and games and anything Flash on the internet. But now, since that's no longer supported, Animate probably just translates everything into HTML5, if I had to guess. I've actually never used it myself. Now, we're not going to animate the hands too much when we put them onto the actual model. Yeah. So, we can keep all the shadows and what have you on the same layer. That's no problem. But Flash really did get a huge send-off, you're right about that. And technically it's still, I guess, some people try to keep it alive through various endeavors, archiving endeavors and what have you. There's actually a great resource. The very first stream that we did on this channel was playing old Flash games from the Internet Database website. It's got a big archive of Flash games that you can still play through these Flash emulators. And some websites have those built in as well, like Newgrounds and other sites that really made their living off of Flash content. Stuff like Homestar Runner. Oh, and that reminds me, every time this comes up, I always got to ask the people who are tuning in, are you familiar or not with Homestar Runner? Because there is a huge divide, it seems, between the Space Cadets when it comes to knowledge about that series. I thought it was just common knowledge for everybody of a certain era. But even amongst our contemporaries, it seems like it's hit or miss whether people know about the Homestar Runner and friends. Never heard of it. See, here we go. Nev. Goodness gracious. So Homestar Runner was a web-based cartoon series, I suppose. And really in the sense that it seems like one of the closest analogs you could ever get to the internet's version of like a Saturday morning cartoon series. Ellie says, I've heard a lot about Homestar Runner, but I was a bit too young for it. My squadron mates actually know more about it than I do. Okay. But between 2001 to 2008, 9, 10, around that area, it's probably when they were most active. They'd put out animations all the time. And they had a number of different series and all sorts of characters. And they even got spin-off video games for the Nintendo Wii and the PC. Like, they weren't just some fly-by-night web series or what have you, compared to stuff like Happy Tree Friends or Dr. Tran or other stuff like that. Like, they did well. They did very well. Oh, look at this. More action in the chat. Space Buffoon. Thanks for tuning in. What are your thoughts? Weigh in here. I remember when Homestar Runner was new, and I recall some friends talking about it. I personally never watched it for no particular reason, just didn't happen. Also, hello. hello. Thanks for tuning in. We're doing a little artwork tonight. Trying to update the Spaceman model with some more seasonal assets, making some winter mittens for ourselves. So you have heard of Happy Tree Friends, okay. What were some other ones? I'll bet everybody must be aware of Weeble and Bob, or at least their work. Stuff like the Badger, like Badger Mushroom, that one. Magical Trevor, that sort of stuff, On the Moon. They did all that stuff. Sorry, when I say they did all that stuff, I'm referring to Weeble and Bob. Or Weeble's stuff, I guess, was technically the website. Not the Homestar Runner crew. I don't want those to get mixed up. They were distinct groups. Okay, Space Buffoon knows Weeble stuff. I actually had cause to revisit that website not too long ago, and I was actually surprised that some of those series are still going. Still kicking. Well, you learn something new every day, Ellie. Yep. That was them. Yeah, when you think about like dumb earworm type music, the stuff that gets stuck in your head, they were responsible for, it seems like, a lot of it. This stream is so educational. Well, what do I say at the top of every show, huh? We're getting set to rocket into another session of all the things we like to love and love to share. You know, that's why we got into the game. was to share all the crazy, dumb stuff that we're into with the wider world so that we can get it out of our space head. And inflict it upon the rest of you guys. Instead of Magic School Bus and Ms. Frizzle, it's Vector Spaceman and the Space Van, yes. I'm a spaceman, I got a space plan, I drive around in a bright orange space van. You know what I don't like about Flash, though? Even to the end. Check this out. 100% magnification. 200% magnification. 400% magnification. Line thickness, for whatever reason, it's tied to how zoomed in you are. That's why I'm always zooming in and out so often. It's because I'm trying to figure out what fits best for the line thickness I'm working with. So I'm not spending too much time making wee thin scribblies. Oh, we're missing some things here. Space Buffoon. First time I watched a Weeble Stuff video way back when, a friend linked me to Magical Trevor. I loved Magical Trevor. And told me the ending was absolutely worth it, and to make sure to watch the whole thing, and believed him. I'm sure you already know why that's funny. Maybe we missed one. I remember Magical Trevor. I remember the second Magical Trevor. If there was more than that, I don't know if I remember it. We'll have to do a revisitation. The second stream we ever did on the channel here. And let me know if anybody remembers this. We took a review, a loving look back at one of my all-time favorite web series, which was The Decline of Video Gaming by a group called the Super Flash Brothers. Back when I was a teen, I thought that was some of the funniest stuff and some of the best Flash work around. Some pretty familiar names. If anybody's ever heard of Aaron Hansen, also known by the name Ego Raptor, that was one of his voice works. And that group, the Super Flash Brothers, they actually went on to do a bunch of commercial animations and games. Like if anybody's heard of the Snipper Clippers game, or whatever it's called, Snip Clips, for the Nintendo Switch, that's them. They're just a small, actual brothers, two-man band, as it were, from England. And they do great work. They've always done great work. Mossmellow Spaceman wins your album dropping. I like doing sing-songy type stuff. I like dropping bars, doing some raps. I wouldn't be opposed to that. Napu magnification affecting thickness. Yeah, it's the worst thing, isn't it? Also, for whatever reason, there is no... Let's see. Yeah. Like my tablet here, I cannot tie magnification to this scroll wheel that I have here in the same way that I can tie it to in Photoshop or other programs, so I always have to be clicking here and manually deciding how zoomed in I want to get. It's a bit of a pain, but it's what we sacrifice in order to get this particular style. Oh, they looped infinitely. That's what you meant. Okay, yeah. Well, that was the same of all the Weeble and Bob stuff, right? That's what Flash was. It was just effectively a super complex GIF. Where do you guys stand on the GIF versus GIF debate, if it's even still being debated? I can't stop saying GIF, and I don't think I ever will. To the day I die, I'll be a purist in the sense of quote-unquote mispronouncing it. I don't care that the inventor of the file format says GIF. He's wrong. And I'll fight anybody who says otherwise. Not physically, of course, but with words. Hurtful words. Sharp, biting words. Neff thinks it's pronounced GIF. Echo, I haven't heard someone say GIF in a real long time. Well, unless you're discussing, like, peanut butter or a speedy conclusion. That's the only reason I can think when you'd have to say GIF. Mossmell is right, the G stands for graphics, not giraffics. Giraffics, though. Now I'm just thinking of giraffes. Artsy, artsy giraffes. When's my first diss track? Ooh. See, I'm a pretty laid-back, agreeable person. That's the problem. I don't know if I have it in me to be a diss track kind of guy. Ellie says I choose to ignore the creator of GIF. That's the wise move, I suppose. Elevate oneself above the petty arguments. Now the one mitt looks a little lopsided, but I think that's fine. We don't want things to look too symmetrical here. Jurassic Park. Good one, Salty. We spared no expense. A nice track. Now there's a thought. Nothing but pure positivity. But real aggressive positivity though, right? Did you ever see those videos of like people, like they use it as sort of examples of context within language and stuff? So they'll show a video of like somebody talking to their pet dog in a really, really sing-songy, really sweet voice, but they're saying, terrible, terrible stuff to them, and the dog's wagging, he's real happy. And then they flip the script, they start yelling at him with the most positive stuff, like, "You're an incredible animal! I love having you around!" And it freaks him out. So be aggressive like one would be on a diss track, with only positive stuff. Would that be the idea? I think that could work. Funnily enough, just before joining tonight, I was tweeting about this 10-year-old browser flash game I want. Yo, so I saw this, and I was thinking to myself, I wonder if we could help hunt that down. I haven't looked too much into it yet, because I was getting ready to launch the stream here. Because like you said, yeah, it was just a few minutes ago, right? If we can do anything to aid in that quest, I'm always down to help uncover lost media. Gotta fill in some empty lines here, or where they will be. There we go. And we gotta make this layer thicker than the underlying one, because we're basically gonna splat it right on top of it once we get to Live 2D. and just let it sit there and let the existing animation control its movement. So everything has to be slightly thicker than the underlying hands. Gloved hands, as it were. While we're on the subject of old Flash stuff, let me know, everybody, what your fondest recollections of the medium were, whether it be games or animations. I'm always looking for more stuff to revisit, since it was such a huge part of my early involvement with the World Wide Web. And without Flash, we wouldn't be where we are today. I was actually having a really neat conversation a couple of weeks ago with somebody, and the topic was like, oh, what would VTubing be like, if we can use that word? If it would even be the same concept, if the concept got popularized in like 2004 rather than 2019 or 2020 or whenever it really popped off for us. And I was thinking, we would have had a lot of the same technology at the time. We would have just been limited by internet speeds and facial capturing. Like, that wasn't quite there yet. But in terms of controlling a lot of like this side-to-side motion, this illusion of depth and stuff, which is what controls all the live 2D stuff, that was all there. We could have done that pretty easily with existing tools in something like Flash. It would have been all controlled, or a lot of it would have been controlled by mouse movement or keystrokes or something like that. You might have been able to control voice movement with, very basically, through voice activation. You might have gotten away with that. And the format itself, because of web streaming limitations, probably would have been closer to something like early Let's Plays, or maybe it would have been more like a radio show, pre-recorded sort of stuff. But it's something that could have been, had we been all stuck indoors with nothing to do way back then. What do we got here? Neff says, my biggest memories of Flash were animator versus animation, though. That did start in Flash, you're absolutely right. Flash was big for anything that you could do with stick figures. Or, we shouldn't even call it stick figures, we should give it a more proper title. We should call it, linear minimalism. Or something like that. But yes, that style. There were a lot of animator versus animation type films, and you could get, because they were all mostly done like stick figures and really basic assets, they could get really complex with the sort of action animation that they put into it, like real over-the-top Hollywood style stunts and things. I remember those looked really cool. Salty says, I'd say my favorite Flash games were Anti-Idol, Bloons Tower Defense, I remember that one, and Duck Life 3, Flash animations and dress-up games got me into animating and early coding. Nice. You made 3 Flash animations and at least 2 dress-up games. Okay. Another one active during the days of Flash. We used to make independent animations, and we tried gaming, but this was before we had taken any sort of computer science or anything of the sort, so we weren't terribly good at it. And by the time we got into that, we started using proper coding languages. But we made a few little animations back in the day, nothing that survives, unfortunately. And some pretty basic stuff, really. Nothing to write home about. But it was all practice for the kind of stuff that we get up to now. So an endeavor well worth it in the long run, you know? Bloons Tower Defense 5 consumes so much of my life, says Nev. Space Buffoon says, I thought Flash was too relevant to go down like it did. Not sure what the problems with it were, but it was also a huge part of my internet experience. So, the problems with it were occasional what's the word? Occasional problems where vulnerabilities, that's the word I was looking for. It was not the most secure platform, so you could have some malicious code snuck into your action script. You didn't always want to just let an SWF file run whatever it wanted to do. And the other problem was, well, not really a problem, but just another reason that it was phased out was that not just animation, but data transfer of media through HTML5 and just the increasing capabilities of the World Wide Web, our internet speeds just keep getting better and better, just sort of made the need for a very lightweight web media file type less relevant. So there's really no reason that you can't keep making Flash content like we're doing right now, technically. But it just became something that the big web browsers, as it were, because really the only reason that we don't see Flash included on websites and stuff without dedicated emulators to keep it running is because companies like Google and Firefox and what have you, they don't include a Flash player in their browsers anymore. So technically, because we still run Creative Suite 6, we have the native Flash player software that comes bundled with it, which means we don't even need an emulator to run that stuff. So if we have an SWF file, we can run it right here on the computer. But if you go to try to download Flash Player from the Adobe website anymore, they don't let you do it. You got to go to some other third-party source, which might just link you back to the Adobe website, which doesn't work anymore. Or you might have to go to some less than reputable sources, sail the high seas of the internet, as it were, to try and find another workaround. Echo says, Armor Games, Mini Clip, and Games were a big part of my childhood. Yep. There was another one, the one that I think I spent the most time on was Flash Player. Flashplayer.com or .net, one of the two. But it was all animations, games, fun stuff. Ellie says there was a lot of resources on one of the sites I used to frequent, so it wasn't too difficult to learn. Ah, nice. Yeah, you'd be hard-pressed to find good Flash tutorials or ActionScript tutorials these days. Osmella says, I loved watching Flash animations, but I could barely hack animating a GIF, so I never got curious enough to try it. I applaud those of you who did. Well, even when we did, it was oftentimes pretty basic stuff, but it was so accessible. You know, it was like, why not give it a shot? If you were trying to learn animation back in the day, a trial version of Flash would last you a good month, and then you either find a workaround or you reinstall it or something, but it gives you good practice. Echo, there was also a series of Flash-based dating sims that I can't play anymore. One of them was called School Days or something. Fave was definitely the Alice in Wonderland themed one, though. can't play anymore because those sites are down, or... Because again, if you could find some sort of resource that has this stuff saved, you'd probably be able to run it through emulation. Here, let me show you something, if anybody doesn't know about this, because maybe you could scroll through it and maybe find what you're looking for. Let's see here. Give me just 1 second. Is this what I was looking for? Yes, I think so. Let's pull this over to the big screen. So, the Internet Archive, which is found at archive.org, has a page all for Flash stuff. Flash games, Flash animations. And how much do they have saved here? Over 4,500 different SWF files, which can be played right in the browser. And they can... Oh! Space Buffoon's now hosting my stream with 1 viewers? Well, thanks so much, Space Buffoon. Thanks for spreading the word. Yeah, you could look through this for hours and hours. Try to see if you remember anything from way back in the day. I think there's gotta be ways to search specifically for stuff. View, sort by... What if we just searched school days with a Z? No match for your criteria. A little harder than that. But I like scrolling through here every once in a while. Looking for old stuff. Oh, Kohaku's now hosting my stream with 1 viewers. What is going on here? We're reaching new frontiers of broadcasting standard. Yo! See, this is what happens. I look through here and I suddenly, all of a sudden, I recognize stuff like the old Samurai Jack game that you used to play on the Cartoon Network site. Oh, what is going on here? Monayu coming in with a whole bunch of people? Oh, geez Louise. Monayu with the affiliate push. I'm sorry, Monayu. I'm sorry. Listen, you're still my #1 most favorite sea turtle in the whole wide world, but you're too late. You're too late. Because just earlier in the stream today, we had Aoi Echo tune in, and we got our nifty 50 followers, our first 50 Space Cadets. Congrats, thanks so much. You know, we probably couldn't have gotten where we are. Stevie! Nifty 51! Joining the Space Cadets, look at this. Thanks so much. Oh, come on now. Hero King Soul. Another Space Cadet? This is unprecedented. This is out of bounds, people. This is... Deathwing! Deathwing, go home. You've got better things to do than be number 53. Come on. Some people, they've got no decorum, busting into my stream and making 53 followers. Whoop whoop, yep, yep. I mean, we were trying to hit 50 by the new year, and we just busted right through that goal. But yeah, I definitely recommend scrolling through here if you're looking for old Flash content, stuff that you half remember. So happy, thanks Monayu. Like I said, we probably couldn't have gotten where we are without Monayu. She's been such a friend and a champion of the channel. Always retweeting our dumb stuff, always helping us out. Anything else I recognize from here? Badger, of course. Some of this stuff looks a little spicy too. What do I mean dumb? It's art. It's all art in somebody's eyes, I'm sure. OG caramel dancing. Now, where were we? Back to the task at hand. Writer affiliation, baby! Yeah, buddy. Well, we'll see. It usually takes them a few days to recognize any change on the channel. But maybe well, it'll be a little Christmas gift or a New Year's celebration. We're looking forward to having new ways that we can interact with our lovely, lovely Space Cadets. And so once again, I gotta thank all of you for doing your part, for being with us for so long. You know, it's surprising, I keep saying this, that we've really only been at this for less than 2 months now. We had our first stream on November 1st. Channel points, woohoo, ready to collect. What should we call those channel points? I've seen some channels that have custom names for them. I think that's a cool thing to do. Maybe we'll have to come up with something. Let's go ahead and lock that layer. Space tokens, that might be good. Asteroids. Cadet credits. That's true. We do call our viewers Space Cadets. Although that's not entirely true. We call our viewers viewers. We call our Space Cadets Space Cadets. I mean, these are peak individuals. These are rarefied viewers, you know? Cadet credits, that could work. Oh, you like the snowflakes on the scarf? Yeah, Manayu was here when we were making the scarf. Today we're working on gloves. But it was her idea to add little snowflakes to it because I was thinking, the red is a little bland just by itself. But good eye for detail, Manayu, good eye. Question, do we have plans for a celebration stream? Well, I kind of thought it was going to take longer than it did to get to where we're at. I was thinking, okay, maybe if we're lucky, we'll get to 50 around near the end of the year. And even that, I was thinking, all right, we're really going to have to push it over on the Twitter or something. We're really going to have to debase ourselves. Hey, Layla XH, rating with a party of 21. Are you out of your mind? What is going on here? Yo, action in the chat. Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Hello, Raiders, indeed. Big night tonight. Jay Fairless has joined the Space Cadets. This is getting out of hand, people. This is some unprecedented action in the chat. Dr. Freenote has joined the... come on now. People, we can't, this has to, we have to put an end to this. This is unacceptable. That's been 6 new Space Cadets in one evening. We're never going to be able to top this. For crying out loud, people. Haven't you got better things to do than tune in to a little spaceman making some art in a defunct old vector? Osborne K! Get out of town. I can't stop you. What is going on here? This is the first time that the term raid has ever been applied accurately to people tuning in. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. What we're up to today. Ruben, you're here too. How are you doing, fella? Big hearts. I appreciate it, everybody. You know, it's a very special night for us tonight. We just hit our monthly milestone, the target that we were aiming for, 50 new Space Cadets, not new Space Cadets, 50 total Space Cadets by the end of the year, so that we can launch into 2022 with some brand new options, brand new engagement for the channel. And we absolutely crushed that, especially with what's going on tonight. Let's get you to partner in one night. What even is that? That's completely outside of my frame of reference. I don't even know what you have to do to get that. I was thinking, wow, can we even get like 50 followers, 3 concurrent streamers? Or 3 concurrent viewers? I thought that was going to be the hard part. I think we were sitting at something like 1.3 for the longest time, which, by the way, thank you to that 0.3 person who continues to tune in to support the channel. Kudos to you, my friend. You are a true Space Cadet. Congratulations, congratulations. Thanks, everybody. We couldn't have done it without all of you. I keep saying it. We may not have done it without all of you. You know? Part of the reason that I got into this whole experiment in independent broadcasting was, you know, I figured if I was going to do stuff like art on stream or playing video games, I may as well do it with other people. Share the fun times, you know? But what was that question before? Did we have plans for a celebration stream? No, not really, because we really didn't think we were going to hit it this quick. So maybe that'll be something we do either when we come back after the holiday break, because remember everybody, we're going to be taking some time off later this week around Christmas times. We will be back next week for most of our regular schedule. Or maybe we'll do something right as we get into the new year. Like our first 2022 stream, we could do some sort of celebration, some sort of event. But now I'm going to have to put something together. That's alright though, we're going to have a few days off around the holidays. I'm sure we can think of something. Neff's going to head out. Congratulations again and have a good rest of your night. You too. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you had fun tonight. Thanks for being part of this milestone event, this absolutely historic stream. Ellie says, if our channel is for 3 VTubers, but I'm the only one watching, am I the 0.3? Okay, you might have a point there. You might have a point. Technically, that's true. Each one of you counts for 0.3 viewers. CNF, you have a great night. I hope we catch you again soon. But for everybody who's just tuning in here, what we're working on tonight, we're adding some extra assets to the holiday themed model that we're working on. As you can see, we've got our holiday scarf here that we were making last week. Now we're just working on some gloves to go over our existing model assets. As you can see here, we got our tablet out, but we've also got gaming hands. We've also got the microphone that we pull out every once in a while. So that's what we're trying to do here, is just make extra layers that we can throw on top of those. Real simple stuff, but we're going to show the process all the way from concept sketch to live 2D rigging. We should be able to get it all done tonight, and if we got any extra time, we'll go ahead and maybe we'll do something. We'll try to deck the halls at Harbor Station here at our main screen. I was thinking we could add some holiday lights, maybe some wreaths or something like that. Something fun, something festive, you know? So if you got any ideas, be sure to let me know. If we got time to it, I'll try to make it happen. Free note, Adobe Flash still exists in current year? Good eye, yes. So we are working in Adobe Flash. And actually every single part of the Vector Spaceman model was constructed in Adobe Flash. A little bit of trivia there. It's such a wonderful old school program. And it's really where I got started as a digital artist. Way back when it was called Macromedia Flash. Is that Space Snow? Yes. So actually I was using that earlier today. I was filming a cover of Let It Snow, so I had that going in the background, and I decided I'd just keep it on because, you know, it's the holidays. It's festive. That's not a real window anyways. That's just, that's a view screen. You know how it is, very Star Trek-esque. Jay Fairless says, I heard from Lou you made the model yourself. Yes, so everything you see here, from the model to the station backgrounds and logo, everything here is all completely independently produced. I mean, technically I have to give credit to, yeah, it just has an overlay applied, you're right. It could still be a window if we wanted it to be. But yeah, everything we got here was trying to capture that aesthetic of mid-2000s internet content, animation games, you know, which was, of course, very Flash heavy, if you recall. So that's why we still use Flash for all of our assets, because it gives us that Mwah, that perfect, imperfect sort of jankiness, right? I'm just trying to see here where these lines aren't... Okay, there we go. Like, even these little... I love the way that Flash tries to compensate for arcs and lines and what have you. Because, of course, that's what vector graphics is. It's all mathematical approximations of lines, which is, of course, why it transfers over the internet so fluidly, so quickly, which is why we used it for so many years before web speeds got really good. Or, if not good, at least better. It has that old school look. Flash is dead, long live Flash. Echo, I think I'm gonna dip too. Nice to meet you all, though. Echo, thank you for helping make our goals possible, for being our 50th follower. Everybody give Echo a big round of applause, a big thank you, as they take off. We couldn't have done it without you, or perhaps we could have. I mean, we did have 1 billion people show up and start hassling me with those notifications afterward. But the point is, I'm thankful for you, Echo. Thanks for tuning in. I hope we get to see more of you. I hope we'll continue to make content that you enjoy, that you can enjoy tuning in. And I'm always going to be thankful for what you've helped us accomplish here, Echo. Take care. Have a great evening. I hope we get to see you again soon. Oh, look who else is in the chat. Rigel Mikado. Hey, Vector. Hey, Rigel. Now we've got 2 out of the 3 of the Nova Swarm tuning in at this exact same time. Boy, if we get Lyra up in here, you guys could count for a whole viewer, as we determined earlier. Don't mention good internet around Lou, they'll cry. Oh, I've been there. I've definitely been there. How do we want to do this? This is going to look more like a strong bad boxing glove than a mitten. But what was I saying? Yes, pretty much everything on the channel, save for certain assets in the background of the stream environment, which were then also heavily modified and traced over to give it that janky look. We're all self-produced, so that was part of the reason I got into it. I wanted it to be very, very expressive, very much an experiment in new broadcast technology. And then what happened? I just end up playing video games half the time, like every other person on this website. That's why hopefully in the new year we've got new tools for the channel. We can make some new content, more experimental stuff. I'd like to get back to more of the reason I got into it, which was to celebrate our Flash roots. I'm sure we'll see more of that kind of stuff, but also do things like more sing-songy type content, more film and series reviews and revisitations. There's lots we could be doing. Oh, and we decided earlier in the stream that maybe we'll do a holiday. What did we call it? Some sort of whatever the opposite of a diss track is, because we decided that being negative just didn't fit the vibe here on the channel. So we wanted to see if we could hit the alternate extreme. Just be incredibly supportive, but in a very aggressive sounding way. Dear Strongbad, how do you hold microphones with boxing gloves on your hand? Sorry, let me try that again. Dear Strong... No, God, I can't do it.
Dear Strongman, how do you hold microphones with boxing gloves on your hands? Sincerely, Dr. Freenote. Well,
Oh man, we can't sustain that. Yeah, killer kindness rap, that's what it is. A boost track, that's a good term for it. Boost track even sounds spacey, you're right. Ooh, Space Buffoon's got a good idea. Maybe draw little jingle bells on the mittens. Yeah, so once we get the mittens done, I think they're about done. Oh, just gotta shade this half here. And then we get the patterning. I was thinking like a white and green zigzaggy sort of pattern. Then then we might add some little tassels or puffs or something like that. Mio678 has joined the Space Cadets. Look at this. We keep making friends tonight, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining the crew. I hope you like what we're laying down tonight. Just doing a little chill, arty stream. Action in the chat. Look at this. Aw, big waves. Everybody see that? See Mio giving us some waves? Let's all wave back. Hi, Mio. Thanks for tuning in. Glad to have you here. We had a big debate earlier in the stream, before everybody started popping in, about who was or wasn't familiar with things like Strong Bad and Homestar Runner. So I'm still flabbergasted that so many people are unawares of such a seminal work of internet and flash history. Oh, look at this! We got Lyra in the chat. Pay no attention to the spider in the ceiling corner. Who left the door open? We got spiders in the house. Tetralaminus. I used to watch Homestar Runner, but that was forever ago. Yep. Well, they're still kicking at it, though. They're still making new content every now and then. Good on them. See, those two, the brothers Chaps, they went and got real jobs, working for real animation studios. So their website kind of suffered a little bit. But they still do their due diligence and pop out a good stream or a good holiday special or something from time to time. Good on them. I mean, that'll always be such a core part of internet history, I think. Space spiders? Yeah, we got space spiders. We're supposed to be a clean environment here, completely sterile. How are we getting arachnids up in this biz? Ryder, gotta go, Vec. Tablet is getting low. Have a great stream and Merry Christmas. Thanks, Ryder. Thanks for tuning in. Now remember, everybody, we're gonna have a few more streams before we call it quits for the holidays. We're gonna be doing a bunch of in-game events over the next couple of days. And then Thursday, we're capping it off with something called, a new game called SantaCraft, which is all about trying to rebuild the North Pole. A very short but sweet Christmassy type game that was recommended to me. I haven't tried it out yet, but it looks decent enough. Mossmellow says there have been some recent Strong Bad Let's Play vids on the Homestar YouTube channel that are A+ content. Ah, nice. Is that Puppet Strong Bad? Is that one of those things? I always liked how they would bridge mediums so effortlessly. Okay, I think I'm pretty satisfied with the base for our gloves. Now let's go ahead and add some details real quick. Now we're not going to be adding a whole lot of animation to these. These are basically just going to sit over top of our existing hand assets once we get them into live 2D. So I'm not worried about separating out layers for shadows and things like that tonight. No, it's stuff like him playing really old DOS games. Oh, you know what? I have seen one of those. Yeah, like the kind of games that the Vidalectrix games were based off of. Yes. No, I've seen one of those. I think it's the Battleship type game that he's playing. So let's pick a good green here. A nice festive green. Can't be too dark. But that might work. And then do we want to do something like zig, and then around it we can put, it'll be an off-white. Because nothing's perfectly white. We'll just place some of that on both sides, like so. That doesn't look so bad. Might have to go over it again with the black just to cover up some of that leakage, color leakage. Probably have thought of a better term for it than that. Nice, suitably janky. Whoa. Color bleed, yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, I love the Battleship one, him hacking into the code. Yeah! No, that's exactly the same one that I saw. Now, if we had wanted to get real detailed with this, technically we could have made these shadow layers sit on top of all the base colors, because we can do transparency in Flash. It's just a little roundabout. But we're not gonna focus too much on that, I don't think. We're just gonna get some dirty mittens done. Even though we rarely see this side of the tablet hand, it's usually always covered up by the tablet itself. We'll still give it its due diligence. Now here's a question, because I know we have some other virtual streamers in the chat. Do any of you guys do your own live 2D work as well? I had mentioned it briefly last time we were doing one of these art streams, but I was surprised how many people hire out that part of the experience. And I get it, not everybody can be the artist that they want to. Not everybody is satisfied with the kind of janky outcome that works for us here. Sometimes you need extra help. Come on, you, these already look so adorable. Yep, our own assets, our entire team is, well, team effort. Oh, nice. So good for you guys. I love it. I am just enamored with the concept and execution of the Nova Swarm team. Being this, like from the get-go, this three-man team, three-person team, if you want to be more accurate. But that's great that you guys can leverage all of your skills, help each other out. I think that's definitely going to serve you well in the long run. Save us money on graphics? Yeah, I guess that's true. You know what I was thinking about as I was planning out stuff like the scarf and the gloves? There used to be a really old, and I don't even think it was a Flash game, I think it was a Shockwave player game that I used to get in emails around Christmas times every year, and it was like this snowball fight game or something like that, where you drag these little kids around the field. You'd have to click on them to charge up snowball throws, and then they'd toss them into kids on the other side of this of the game field, basically. But I can't remember what it was called or how I'd even go about finding it again. But I used to love playing that game. Anything I could play in a browser, that was my jam. Mana says, all I could manage on my own was my overlays because it doesn't require drawing. I guess that's true. A lot of basic shapes. Manayu brings a lot of other talent to the table, though. She just released a pretty cool cover of an Elvis song today. Everybody should go check that out. You can find that over on her Twitter page at twitter.com/manayunohea. I've also been thinking I should probably get one of those automated Twitch bots or something like that so I can give more useful callouts to people instead of stopping to put stuff into the chat field or having to navigate over to web pages to show people what I'm talking about, that sort of thing. Mossmella says that snowball fight game sounds vaguely familiar. I do remember Shockwave. We love fancy voice shoutouts too. Well, that's not so bad then, is it? As long as it achieves the same outcome. People definitely need to check out Manayu. She's been so good to the channel here. We need to take every opportunity we can to give back. So you know the snowball fight game too, Manayu. I need to play it again even though it made me sick. How did it make you sick? I think I've heard you discuss how some games give you like a motion sickness or something like that, but did the snowball fight game do that to you? It wasn't so action-packed, was it? Motion sickness, really? Subliminal does that to you, And I don't know if it was just me, but I always remember getting linked to it through like chain emails around holiday times. I wouldn't know where to actually go to try and find it now. There must be some source. Now these gloves have to be the best looking because we use our idle hands pretty often. So I'm gonna have to trace over this again here. This is a little too scraggly. It Takes Two, that new game that's been out. The one that kind of looks like everything's made of clay or yarn or something. That's the one? I know there are some games that have a really strange, like, field of view. I wonder if that's responsible for that sort of effect. Let's zoom in here. This is getting worse and worse. Sitting at now? Hour and a half? Alright. We'll be done this pretty soon. It's been a busy night. We've been talking with a lot of people in chat. We've been making a lot of new friends. And I was joking earlier, but remember everybody, now that we've hit 50 plus followers, now would be the time to jump ship. If you think, well, I don't have to bother sticking around to watch Spaceman anymore. It Takes Two is really good, horrible optimization though. Oh yeah? Well, that's just a, whoa! Petrolemnis, joining the Space Cadets. Monayu, no, definitely not. Ah, darn it. I knew Monayu was in it for the long haul. We'll have to find a different way to get rid of her. I honestly enjoy your streams. Well, I enjoy that you enjoy our streams, Monayu. It also helps that we enjoy your streams too. What wonderful people we've met in such a short time. In this wide and wonderful online virtual streaming environment. Spaceman's great content for real? Well, thank you, Space Buffoon. So glad we stumbled upon you the other day. Jay Fairless keeping the chat alive. Look at all those colorful emotes. So really, Take Two runs rough, does it? See, games lately, and by lately I mean basically ever since they started letting developers get away with you needing to have, what, 50, 60 gigs of hard drive space for a new game, 32 gigs of RAM just to run the latest Tetris or whatever the situation may be. Like, they've gotten pretty egregious when it comes to optimizing coding as a field, it seems to me. I remember back when we were taking our old computer science classes back in high school and university. Like, that was something they stressed, because the people who were teaching us were dudes who had come out of programming in like the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, where you had to scrimp and scrap just to put pixels on the screen, right? Nobody knows those hardships. That's what made quality programmers. Was having to, what's the word? Optimize, surely, but find workarounds. You had to be clever. It wasn't just about dropping script in the proper order, copying and pasting something that you found on Stack Overflow or whatever. You know, you had to be a linguist. It's a language that we're talking about here. Programming. I know some schooling jurisdictions do it, but I always thought it was a great idea for places that require secondary language requirements. Why not let computer science count for something like that? It's effectively got its own grammar, its own language, its own linguistic tics, and probably more useful in the long run, depending on what field you're going into, compared to something like, well, I shouldn't make fun of any languages, but for example, the French that I took growing up, or the Mandarin that I took in university. Rarely do I get the opportunity to use any of that. Except when I'm on stream and Monayu shows up and I want to bust out some fancy French just to be friendly. What do we got here? Ellie says, I streamed it on an old channel with my cousin and it gave both of us huge lag spikes. Every AAA game is essentially early access. Isn't that the truth, though? Isn't that the truth? Hotfix the rest later and sell the full game piecemeal. Yep. Space Buffoon says, I wish every Steam game, had a demo so I could try it out and see if my computer could handle it. Didn't that used to be so much more normal? Like, what happened to demos? you know what I like? Look at this here. I love these little jaggities that come like right off the edge and almost connect. They're a pain if I ever have to wand around something in Photoshop, but I love the way they look in Flash as it tries to smooth things out poorly. No, please, let's go back to the time of renting video games. Yo, I used to do a lot of that. Not by choice, but just because I didn't have game consoles growing up. Getting to rent a game console like around the holidays or for a birthday party or something like that, that used to be a big deal for me. Not that I miss rental media as a concept, mind you, but I'll always have fond memories of walking into the Blockbuster or whatever local video rental chain you might have had. Getting to pick out a couple games and trying to get as much gaming in over that weekend or that holiday break as I could. In the long run, probably not the best parenting decision on the part of Mr. and Mrs. Spaceman, in the sense that gating access to video games really only kind of made us want to play them more. Whereas now that I've got access to all games all the time, I pretty well never play them by myself. Unless I'm on stream, and when I play it off stream, it's usually multiplayer stuff with friends. You know, that just seems like the best use of time. If you're gonna be whiling away your days playing video games, then why not do it with some fun people? So apparently a lot of people pining for those old days. Got to play so many more games when I could rent them. Really? I think there's still a rental thing, but it's by mail? Blockbuster for sure. Rent the game, download it with a code that expires. Pay full price to unlock the code that doesn't expire. That's not a bad concept, is it? Or even, you know, I remember it used to be pretty standard practice. You'd just have a demo version of a game that you could get. Like, I can remember hours and hours that I used to spend playing the... Here's what we used to do back when I was in school. We'd get the demo version of Halo Combat Evolved for the PC, which got ported over by Gearbox. When was that? Somewhere around like 2003, 2004. But that could fit on a memory stick. Bring that into the computer lab, or even just download it on the spot. Suddenly you got a big LAN party going right there. Easy peasy. Demos used to be great. Gamefly used to do mail rentals, but I don't know if they still do. They might have gone digital. If they're even still a thing. Like, if that's your market, if you're that niche, I don't know how you survive nowadays. That's why everybody's got to be on the lookout, because there's so many AAA developers that are gonna start trying to push, what would be the word for it? Like perpetual, or no, would this be a bad thing or not? But I've seen so many game companies talking about basically in-game items or digital ownership of games tied to like basically NFT tech, like blockchain based stuff. And I can only imagine that the only reason they're interested in doing something like that has to be for some nefarious purpose. Used to spend a lot of time just playing demos at stores. Yo, at stores though, yeah. You used to have big old, like I remember those big old N64 stands that you used to see all over the place at game retailers. Or sometimes at, yeah, whatever sort of function. It seemed like, maybe it was just because there were fewer games, but it seemed like it was real easy to experience games in part. Like try out stuff. Rachel, NFT equals nefariously funded tech. That's good. Did that in high school with Halo and Warcraft 3 to play the first Dota custom game. Nice, nice. You know what else I remember? I remember you used to get like demo CDs for games packaged in other products, like didn't they used to give like demo discs? You could definitely get demo discs in stuff like gaming magazines, I remember that. But couldn't you get demo discs in like cereal boxes and other weird places too? Like there was cross promotion for games all over the place. Sure could, yeah, I love demo discs, yep. Right. And usually it was like some license thing, like Post serials crossed over with like the video game version of, like, couldn't you get like a whole lot of Parker Brothers games like Monopoly and all that kind of junk on demo discs, or like some Disney licensed demo game, stuff like that. But the best stuff was probably through the game magazines. PC magazine, Xbox magazine. I've still got one really good condition Xbox magazine from when Halo 3 was getting released. I think one of the first things I was posting on Twitter when I first opened the account was old screenshots from that. It's nice to go back and whist nostalgically, or nostalgically look back on these sorts of things from your youth every now and then, as long as you don't get too tied up in it. This glove's looking a little too jank. We gotta cover over some of these. That's what the problem is. Uneven lines here. Here. I actually remember specifically playing a demo disc at a friend's place for the PlayStation. Was it the... yeah, it must have been the original PlayStation. And it had stuff like whatever Tony Hawk Pro Skater was being released at the time on it, and it had one game I remember, which was, is it pronounced Toomba or something like that? It's like this wild child kid taking on pigmen or something like that. But the demo was time gated, so it was always a rush to see, okay, how far can we get in the game before the half hour that it lets you play winds up or something like that. Yes, with the pink hair, absolutely right. That's the one. And then guess what? You play for a half hour, you never get as far as you want to. Well, that just incentivizes you to go and buy the full retail release, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know. Doesn't sound so crazy to me. Oh, look at this. More action in the chat. First time chat. Tagi Aliapo. Welcome to the channel. Space Baboon, I shared the same experience down to it being Tomba. Wow. That must have been the demo disc. Well, it's nice to meet you as well. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know if I'm saying that name right. Sagi Aliapo. We're just doing a very relaxed, laid-back art stream tonight, trying to make some assets for the model. Our Spaceman model here. Some holiday content. All the way from sketching to in-game or in live 2D rigging. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Saying it close to right at least? Well, that's good. Look at us. First try. Masterful linguist over here. Thanks for tuning in. It's a very special stream tonight. We just reached 50 Space Cadets followers here on the channel. It was our month-long goal that we were trying to reach so that we can start to introduce new ways to engage with the audience. 2022 is going to start off with a bang, that's for sure. And everybody in chat here tonight has gotten in on the ground floor. Well done, everybody. You can count yourselves amongst the nifty 50. Our first and most formidable Space Cadets. Oh, look at that. Sagi Aliapo. Getting in while it's good. Thanks for the follow. I hope you like what we're putting down here tonight. Remember, everybody, it don't cost a dime to follow the channel, and you'll always be tuned in when we go live to join in on the fun times. So now we really are going to have to start thinking about what do we want to do for our super special 2022 stream. Now that we've reached our goals, we're going to have to make new goals. Onward and upward, ad astra, as it were. You know, something has changed in our schedule for next week, though. Not a big change, but just a little extra bonus. Our Wednesday stream, it's looking like it might become a collaborative stream with another space-based virtual streamer here on Twitch, Dragon Durant of the Yasuhiro 0088, another longtime fan of the channel, but he decided he wanted to play some TF2 with us. So since that's what we're doing on Wednesday, we may have him along for the ride. We've been trying to put something together with him for a while now. So this is just wonderfully synchronicitous that it all lined up properly with our schedules. I'm hoping that's going to be fun. We're going to be playing through through the TF2 Winter Times event, the Smismas event. Australian Christmas, as it were. Always like the lore surrounding TF2 as much as the gameplay. This super goofy alternate universe, roaring 60s sort of era. Well, we're gonna try to make it happen. Yep. We've been so busy, we're basically not doing any collab outside our group until January. You've got a great thing going, which is you've got collabs basically built into the channel. With the three of you over at the Nova Swarm. You hardly even have to worry about that. But we haven't done a collab stream. Oh, probably in almost a month now when we were playing Minecraft with Kohaku Hashimoto. Always check her out. And Keitan. Alright, I'm pretty satisfied with these gloves. Is it really a collab if you're already a group to begin with? I don't know, but you get the same experience, right? It's a group effort. You know, maybe some of your viewers are tuning in because they really like seeing Ellie stream. Maybe some of them are tuning in because they really like to see Lyra. Some are tuning in because they really like Regal. There's a little something for everybody. That's right, it does have a collab-esque vibe. Alright, those are some mighty fine and festive-looking gloves. Now we just gotta apply a texture to this last one here. And we should be good to export. Whereabouts would that be? Somewhere around here. I don't think the frequency of these jaggedy lines stays consistent, but that's alright. The jank is all part of the charm. Doesn't feel like it on your end, Regal? Well, believe me, I think you'd notice. Well, you probably do notice, because you do individual streams as well. I've seen you guys do those. The feeling's gotta be different from when you do stuff as a group. For my money, I think that's the best way to do streams. If I could do collab streams all the time, I definitely would. It's just a better use of everybody's time, I think. So I applaud virtual streamers that form groups or even start out as groups like you guys have. I think that's forward-thinking stuff right there. Individual stream-wise, Regal has the least experience of us, though. Oh, really? Well, he's got the least experience in total, right? He just had his first stream this week. Or have you guys been doing independent stuff beforehand? I guess that's a good question. You guys might be experienced at this whole thing. Coming from independent backgrounds. Possibly. I did one game before, so I had maybe 6 solo streams in total. Okay. We had some independent things before we were ready, and tried a bit of another. The original channel had affiliate. Oh, very interesting. So I've heard the term rebrand used sometimes when virtual streamers decide to change up their persona, the character they use, or maybe just the way they present themselves. I wonder how long and what future the Vector Spaceman will have here on this show. Well, we're gonna try to stick around as long as we can. That's what I think. We're just getting started here, and we're off to a pretty good start. And we couldn't have done it, of course, without all of our lovely, wonderful Space Cadets. Ellie says, nah, I just decided to nuke the original channel and start fresh. Nice. See, that shows confidence right there. That shows real skill. That you can just wipe it all for a fresh slate. Start over, no problem. I'll just do it again. Is this some sort of off-key Feliz Navidad? It might be. It most certainly is. Goose! Oh, the goose is loose, everybody! Keeping the chat hyped here. How are you doing, fella? Everybody, if you weren't here for the top of the show, then definitely, everybody, if you get the opportunity, because he was our shout out for the day, check out Goose Plays Metal. He's got a great broadcasting personality, and he's been doing incredible work here as our hype man lately. It's cold AF here in Southern Cali. Really? I hardly believe that. I mean, what's cold comparatively for where you live? It's got nothing on space, and I'm sure it's got nothing on where some of our other Space Cadets live. But yeah, Goose was our shout out for the day. He's doing good stuff. He streams himself from time to time. And I think he's got a great little character there. That metal goose, isn't that great? Check him out here at twitch.tv/GoosePlaysMetal. Also over on Twitter, @GoosePlaysMetal. You can find him just about anywhere. And if you can't find him there, you can find him in here. Keeping everything hype, keeping our chat alive, keeping us going. Goose, we've got great news. Oh, you would have loved this. You would have been hyped to the gills about this if you had been here when it happened. We reached our year-long goal of trying to hit 50 followers by the end of the year. And we just shot right through it tonight. We had a couple of raids come in. We met Aoi Echo, who ended up being our 50th follower. And then we got, I've almost lost track now, I think we got close to 10 extras who popped in here over the course of the night, joining the Space Cadets. We're losing track here. We're gonna have to keep a ledger. So now we're, in the back of my mind, I'm trying to think of, well, what are we gonna do to celebrate? We're gonna have some sort of special stream or something for the new year. We gotta start 2022 off right. Am I right? I gotta be right. That sounds right. You let me know. But tonight we're just working on some art assets for the channel. Fleshing out the holiday outfit with some mitts. And I think that's the last finishing touch that we have to put on those. So these are just going to be assets that we lay over top of our existing model, our existing hand assets. So the next step, now that we got this all finished, get rid of all this stuff, our palette here. We'll save that. Spaceman hands. I'm going to call this, I'm going to start naming these layers. We'll call this holiday. Mittens. And now for the fun part. So, where's the microphone? We don't need that visible for when we export. Why did I have that split up so much? There we go. Ooh. Now I'm just noticing some scuffy parts here. Let's just fix that real quick. Christmas is almost here, that's right. We should have started this project earlier. But I was always humming and hawing about doing on-stream art stuff. And it just so happened we got the perfect opportunity last week to start with it. We made this lovely little holiday scarf that we got on here. And so now we're gonna expand upon that. So this should be a pretty quick process now, and an interesting process, some people have found. Getting to see how the sausage gets made, as it were, when it comes to live 2D rigging. So we've got our mitts. Now what do we do with it? Okay, so here's the workflow that we use. Because we work in Flash, which is not a strictly compatible program with other imaging software like Photoshop, we actually have to do a bit of roundabout stuff. We have to export it into a file type that can be read by Adobe Illustrator, which is another vector imaging program. And then from there, we have to export it into a file format that can be read by Photoshop. And from there, we have to export it into Live 2D because it prefers to read stuff directly out of Photoshop. What's this in the chat? Christmas is coming, it's inevitable. Yep, it happens. Whether you like it or not, it'll get ya. Sagi Aliapo, I'm getting Christmas Eve and Christmas Day off work. I'm so hyped. Nice. Now, if we were... I see your comment there, Regal. Clever. Well, not really clever, because if we were actually clever, we never would have started making our assets in Flash to begin with. We would have just started in Illustrator. But the reason that we use vector graphics, rather than just working directly in Photoshop or something like that, which is all rasterized bitmaps, is that anything vector can be scaled infinitely without any loss in quality. It'll always have the same fidelity at any size, which can't be said the same about raster graphics. And this, again, is because it's all mathematical. Lovely, lovely. Look at all this stuff we learn here on the channel. Vector is king, indeed. It can be a little limiting compared to some of the stuff you can do with transparencies and gradients and what have you. But for what we're trying to achieve here on the channel, you know, it works just fine. Just fine indeed. So, what are we gonna do? We're gonna export our image. Let me just go ahead and save that in my media file here. Our folder, all nice and put together. We're gonna call this Spaceman Mittens. So we're gonna save this as an Adobe FXG file. If we were to try to open that up in Photoshop, we'd get a very low resolution copy of it. Okay, now, Nova Swarm Ellie says, just wondering, why not set the stream category as art versus just chatting? Huh. Probably because I didn't know that was a category. I've said it before. Before I started streaming here, I did not engage with Twitch at all. So there's a bunch of stuff that I still don't know about it. But if there's an art stream, or an art category, let's see. Art, look at that. All right, done. Look at that, now we're art. Now we're arting. Monty was wondering the same thing. Yep, now we know. Now we know. Remember, people, never let's never take anything for granted here and assuming that Spaceman knows what he's doing. All right, we've saved that export. Now, I see Manayu's still here. You'll remember this. The same process as last time. So now we want to tab on over to Adobe Illustrator. Here we go. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to open that FXG file. Spaceman Mittens. There we go. There we go. Oh, not responding. There we go. Okay. So same vector-based illustration environment, but Illustrator is a bit smoother than Flash. And we prefer the jank. That's what we strive toward. We're trying to capture a certain aesthetic that Illustrator is just too competent at in order to realize. So what we do here, we export it again into a, what is it here? EP, oh no, we don't export it, we just save it. That's what we do. Save as an Illustrator EPS file. Spaceman_mittens.eps. By the way, I'm really loving the Christmas music mix. I think it's the same one we used last time. Just a sort of jazzy, bossa nova-esque Christmas tunes. Try to find stuff that won't get us muted on Twitch or copyright stricken over on YouTube when we upload it after the fact. Alright, that's saved. Alright, and we want to... we don't need some yuck colors, but it shouldn't make a difference. Okay, we're good. Don't want to get bonked because of music. No. We actually had to change up a lot of the music that we used as intro tracks for the first week or so. Just because despite my best efforts to use stuff that I thought could slip by, they still got us. It's a pretty sturdy music identification algorithm, whatever they got going on. Oh, I missed Layla taking off. I'll be heading off for the night. Thank you for the stream. Thank you so much for tuning in and for bringing us so many new friends of the show. I hope you get to tune in again in the future. This shouldn't take more than maybe 20 minutes or a half hour or so more to get this all set up in the live 2D. Let's speed this up. Let's do this. All right, let's tab on over to Photoshop because that's where we got to stop next. Let's open up from our Illustrator folder, Spaceman Mittens. Where did you go? There we are. And now, thanks to typing it through Illustrator, we can decide how big we want this thing to be. So we're going to oversize it and scale it down based on a reference model that we have. So if we want the width of that file to be 4,000 pixels, now these mittens are much bigger than they ever need to be. Let me open up that reference file so we can scale this properly. Is this the right one? No, that one's got no head, and the hands are different. Where are we? Oh, here we go. Hands export. There we go. So let's copy our mittens into here. And now we'll scale these down so that they're properly sized for live 2D. We just want them to sit over top. Need to be a little smaller. The game controller one's probably the best reference. Why did they get spaced out so much? Spaceman Big Brain. Well, it's just trying to work within our limitations, really. But I appreciate the sentiment. Maybe a little more. This is why we make them slightly oversized, because once we get it into Live 2D, it's going to sit right on top of all of these. Might have to increase the size of those. I might have actually... Oh, that's what I might have done. I may have messed with these individually after the fact. Okay, so what we'll do then, we'll just split these into separate layers and scale them individually. Oops. Okay. And where did that microphone one go? There you are. Come on out of there. Alright, so this will just take a couple minutes. Here we go. There, that's better now that we can isolate them. A lot faster. Just line them up, scale them down. Looking pretty good here. And we'll be able to see these on stream once we get them sent over into Live 2D. Okay. And now I just got to open up another file. And microphone. Yeah, there we go. Add that here. Regel says, gonna go help make dinner, so gonna switch to lurking for a bit, have fun. Well, thanks for tuning in tonight, Regel. Hope you make it back in time to see us put the finishing touches on this, but if not, thanks for tuning in tonight. It's been a pleasure having you here. I'm so glad you got to tune in for our very special episode of the Vector Spaceman program, our historic event night. I hope we get to see you again soon. Everybody wish him a good evening. Farewell, Regel. Fly safe. We'll see you again soon. Here's hoping. Okay, now what's the best way to apply these in Live 2D? I'm thinking just as overlays on top of the existing hand assets. So we're not going to need to see that. We're not going to need to see that. And we're not going to need to see that. And we're actually going to want to separate this into its own layer. Or here's what we'll do. We're going to save this as its own file, so things don't get too messy. And I want to overwrite this old file. We'll call that mittens. Export. Okay, and then we will flatten everything, just so as I can start separating things properly. This is Mitten Mike. Yes, thank you. Where'd you go? There we go. Mitten. Idle. Right. Proper layer work is key to good live 2D organization. It can be such a headache. If you just go into it with layer 1, layer 2, all the way up to layers, like you're gonna spend time making hundreds of different layers for a good quality live 2D model. It's not as easy as Mittens. Manu, you love this song so much. Sang it yesterday on your karaoke stream? You did this one? Something, 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 the stars are brightly shining. That one? It's a shame that I didn't get to, Oh, with your family. Petrolimnus, I love Christmas songs, same. Any time of year is a good time for Christmas songs. But holiday times especially. Okay, this one can remain its own layer because the game hands, they never actually move that much, so we don't have to worry about that one. And we'll call that Mitten Gaming. There we go. Alright, and that's all it takes. We've done our layer separations properly, so we can head on over to Live 2D, where we already have our Spaceman model ready to go. Now you're seeing the real behind the scenes, how it's made. Everything that gets modified in here. Alright, let's reset our default values. Now, since our parameter that we worked on last time, scarf, we really should change the name of that. Can we change the name of that? We must be able to. Edit parameter? No? Yes, here we go. We're going to call this Holiday instead, since it's now going to be a whole outfit. So what we want to happen is that when the holiday parameter is set to on, all of these holiday outfit items will appear over top of the regular stuff. So I think that the best way to do that, we have to find our warp deformers that control the movement of the hands for each of the different hand poses that we have, tablet, gamepad, and microphone. And then we'll just stick these new pieces over top of it. So first thing we ought to do then is import these new pieces. So what we do for that then, we gotta go to where our Photoshop file is saved, and we basically just drag and drop it right onto the working environment here. And because we're so good at naming stuff, we know it's called Mittens Export. We drag it in, and we're going to add it to our present model. We're going to add our layers as a new art mesh. There we go. Now, what do we have to do with these? We have to order these properly. But we also have to add these to our texture atlas so that Live 2D knows to actually make them appear. So we're going to add these, and we'll just stick them over here where we've got room on the atlas, as long as they're not overlapping, so the textures don't overlap, because it's like UV editing if you're familiar with 3D modeling. Space Buffoon, I'm back and just in time because I need to learn this. So this is a pretty simple tutorial. but it's definitely stuff that can still be applied. Alright, so we've dragged and dropped our new assets into the scene. We've added the layers to our texture atlas. We're going to press OK. Don't just X out of it, because that'll undo everything you've done, because this is Japanese software and it can be difficult to use sometimes. I've talked before about how I used to live and work in Japan in a business environment. And boy, can it be can it be a struggle sometimes. Like the stuff you hear about, like they'll still fax basically everything. All that stuff's absolutely true. How there's all this corporate deferentialism. Yes, true. It's a wacky place. Had a lot of fun there though. Okay, so let's go ahead. We want all of these to show up only when the holiday parameter is set to 1. So first of all, I think if I change that to 0 when it's at 1, it won't change back, will it? No, because it's not tied to a warp deformer yet. That's what we have to do. So we have to place these basically where their regular versions are. I did used to work in Japan, yes. This was several years ago. I spent time in and around Tokyo and also in northern Japan. He's fancy like that. I think I freaked Manayu out the first time I was talking about it, because we were discussing, we had both spent time there, and almost around the same time actually, if I recall. But I was talking about one of the weird culinary dishes that I had tried up in northern Japan. One of the things they eat there sometimes is horse sashimi, raw horse meat. I had tried that once. And she seemed put off by that idea. It's not something I would ever try again. But yeah, we could have run into each other. Not only that, but we weren't even that far from one another, it turned out. Within the same region of Japan. Horse sashimi, yep, exactly what it sounds like. It's, how would I describe it? Rubbery, gummy, sorta. It's not something I'd try again, that's for sure. But it's not something I necessarily regret trying, because now I have this bizarre story that I can tell people. How far north? Hokkaido? No, not quite that north. Miyagi. Which is... what would that be? The second most northern province? On the main island? Northeastern. It's where, 10 years ago, the Tohoku earthquake took place. With the nuclear reactor that melted down and all that. Thankfully, I was not right there. I was not there at the time, and I was not in the exact region where that happened. I knew some people who did work around there, though. In Fukushima. Or around Fukushima, I guess. Alright, let's drag and drop these into their appropriate spaces. We're going to open up there we go. So where we have our idle hand, we also want to put our idle mitten hand, and we'll repeat this process for all the different pieces here. Now that's going to tie it to the hand deformer, which will control... So for example, now if we were to turn on the tablet mode, it will make the idle hand disappear. It should also make the idle holiday hand disappear. Yes, it does, so that's what we want to see. But we also want to add another deformer, which will control the holiday transition. So we were about 4 hours away from each other. Yep. Yeah, we probably wouldn't have bumped into each other unless Mana, you and I were both in a big city like Sendai or something at the same time, but not more than a few train stations or stone's throws away from one another. It's weird how that happens, eh? Okay, so let's apply. Here's what we do. First, we want to just move this piece so that it covers up the hand. And now here's the cool thing. Once we get that into proper position here, maybe we gotta rotate it just a little bit. There we go. So because that's being controlled by the same warp deformers that we had in place, if we go and we try to change our angles, that should, yep, automatically generate animation for it, because it's basically just copying the information from the underlying handpiece. So we're just going to repeat that process with all the other handpieces, and that's going to save us a heck of a lot of time. But what we have to do, and actually, you know what, I'm going to do it to both of them after we get the corresponding hand in place, because I don't want to make too many warp deformers. Start gumming up the system here. Alright. Where is idle hands? Idle hands right. I did not name all of these in the best way, unfortunately. Because this was my first attempt. Not only was it all self-produced, it was my first attempt at any live 2D rigging. So there's still some leftover poor practices. Alright, we're going to drag this piece into the same deformer as the right-hand side. Make sure that fits nicely. This is already looking pretty good, though. Maybe we want it, yeah, like that a little bit. And once again, because we got it in that warp group, everything moves nicely, flows the way we want it to. Okay, now here's the thing we could do. We could make a warp deformer, a parent warp deformer of the left and right hand groups, which we could then apply to the holiday parameter to control what is or isn't visible. But we don't want to do that, do we? Because if we do that, then it's going to control all the hand pieces. Darn, okay. So we just want to select the mitten pieces specifically, and we'll create. Can we create one warp deformer for both of those? Let's find out. We'll call... The way the hierarchy works here can get a bit confusing. And we'll call that mitten, idle, opacity, since that's what we're controlling here. I see. Please create an object with the same parent deformer selected. Okay, so we can't do that because they're parented by different deformers. So it won't jank up our hierarchy like that. That's fine. So instead what we have to do is we have to create a warp deformer for each of them. So we'll call this mitten, idle, left, opacity. Or you know what, we don't even have to call it opacity. We'll just call it mitten idle left since this is the only thing that's being controlled by it. Create. Same thing with the other side. Mitten idle right. And so here's what we do. We select both of these. We double click our holiday parameter. And we want to assign it 2 keyforms, or keyframes rather, if you're more familiar with that terminology. We want one placed at a value of 0, and another placed at a value of 1. It's basically just a toggle, an on-off switch. So right now, holiday is set at 0. So what we want to do, we want to set the opacity of these 2 groups to 0. And when we scroll that all the way up to 1, we want it set at 100%, which thankfully it already was. So now whenever we turn on the holiday toggle, the scarf comes on and the mittens come on. Now what happens if we switch to tablet? Well, thankfully, because we had these mitten pieces applied to the underlying existing warp deformers that are already set up, when we do that, they should disappear in favor of the tablet. So now we have to do the same thing with the other pieces. For the microphone, for the tablet, and for the game controller. So that'll just take a few minutes, and then that'll be it. We'll have a perfectly good looking, mitten-handed Spaceman. The one thing that I would like to do though, before we move on to the next piece, is that this, yeah, looked a little too thick for me there. There we go. Floppy little mitten hands. Okay, and we'll just save for good measure. Okay. So we'll reset all our default values, and when we do that, you can see that the holiday tags, all of that gets turned off. Everything gets reset to baseline values. This is what we see when we load up a tracking software like VStudio or your facial capture program of choice. So now we're going to work on the tablet. Let's slide that one over. So tablet is on. Let's open up our warp deformers here. And we have separate warp deformers that control idle breathing animations. We have separate warp deformers that control animations across like the back and forth, left and right, and up and down animations. Once you get the hang for warp deformers and parameters, you can do a whole lot of stuff with Live 2D that's really cool. You just gotta know what you're doing. And that can be a bit of a learning journey. I definitely recommend watching some YouTube videos on how it's done. If you're thinking about getting into this sort of thing, that's how I learned. There was one series that I watched. It was some girl, some lady, who's basically walking through the creation of her own character. I wish I could remember what it was called. But there's lots of good, useful tutorial series out there for people who are interested in this sort of thing. Just head on over to YouTube, give it a quick how-to Live 2D or Live 2D rigging tutorial or something like that. You're going to find lots and lots of options. Okay, we've got our 2 pieces here. Right side tablet. So we'll slot right side tablet mitten right on top of that. And same with the left side piece. Alright, let's position those properly. Now this is going to be interesting. This is going to be a little different, because what we're going to have to do here is tell these warp deformers that we create for these 2 pieces to only activate when tablet and holiday are active at the same time. So I'll show you how to do that once we get these scaled and positioned the way that I want them. Alright, that's got to be up here. Now, draw order also plays a part in how all of this gets rendered on screen. I wish it was just all controlled hierarchically, but I can see that there's a benefit to using draw order instead, which is this value here. Can determine what gets rendered in front of what, basically. Set that back at 500. Okay. See, we just got to figure out what the problem is here that this keeps rendering in front of the tablet, because we don't want that. Alright, that's all at 500. So if we just change mitten tablet left to something like 450, will that put it behind it? Yes, it will. But the regular tablet left is also at 500, so let's put that at 440. That didn't quite fix our problem. It put it behind the arm now. Alright. We gotta figure out what's actually going on here that's causing this problem. Looks like fluffy cat paws? Yeah, kinda, doesn't it? I wanted the full mitten that goes around all the fingers. So we've got some weird contours, but it has got a more charming, cutesy sort of look to it, doesn't it? Well, I hope I got this. For whatever reason, I'm thinking that I'm missing something here. The arms are rendering at 200. It's got to be some group issue that I'm missing out on. Something dumb that I'm overlooking. And exports at 500. Why would that not? The simplest thing to do then is just maybe bump these ones up into the 600 range so that it just stays on top of everything else. But here's the question. Does draw order change with parameter values? I'm kind of worried that it does. Are we going to see clipping here? It's not just because it's up in this hierarchy. Oh, it is though, isn't it? Watch this. If I move this down here. That's dumb. Oh, I've got too many hierarchies to worry about. How it's positioned up here versus how it's positioned down here in the deformer hierarchy. Alright, so what we're going to do then, we are going to move everything down here on top of its regular version. Salty says, my internet's crapping out. I'm going to go. Fun stream, though. Well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for bringing some lighthearted action to the chat. I've enjoyed having you here, Salty. Every time you tuned in, I hope that we'll get to see you again soon. Be glad you were here for such a momentous stream. I'm sure we'll be done this within the next few minutes. We don't have any animation work to do, so it's just putting things in the right place. Take care, Salty. Everybody, give him a fond farewell. I hope we get to see Salty again soon. We've had such a litany of wonderful new friends of the channel lately. Every opportunity I get, I'm always going to be thanking everybody who's been tuning in. Alright, now we've got everything positioned proper. there. And just like our other... Yep. It warps, it deforms, it changes position. Perfect. It even shrinks and grows just like the underlying one does. Zero these out. Okay, so same thing we did before then. We need to create warp deformers for each of these. Mitten. Tablet. Left. And conversely, mitten. Tablet. What's the answer? Right. There we go. Alright, now we need to apply keyframes for both of these on both tablet and on holiday. So when tablet is on, opacity should be 100. When holiday is on, opacity should be 100. When tablet is off, opacity should... Oh, you know what? We don't have to worry about the tablet opacity because that's already handled by our pre-existing warp deformers. Okay, so we're actually going to remove those keyframes so as not to have redundancies. So holiday at 1, 100%. Holiday at 0, 0%. So now we got our base. We switched to tablet. Okay, that's going to make our work a lot easier indeed. All right, 2 more pieces to do, and then we can load it into our tracking software. Save for good measure. Always be saving, people. Always have your models backed up physically, digitally, some offshore server in who knows where, because in the off chance that you lose your model data, ooh, it beggars belief. We might just quit if that were to happen. And that's with a model that would be fairly easy to recreate, all things considered. Alright, gaming hands now. Turn on the gamepad. And let's pull that gaming piece into position. Nice and snug right over top. Oh my goodness gracious. Did it not scale properly? What has happened? Alright, well. Thankfully we can sort of mitigate that. And it won't look too bad. Thought we had this all scaled properly, but perhaps not. Thankfully, we won't notice when it's in action. There we go. And moving around, yeah, we can't tell. And the hands do flex a little bit. That's good. All right. Zero those values out because we don't want our stuff to only be applicable to certain X and Y values. I've had that issue happen before. Lessons learned in the process. And we'll apply a deformer to this. We'll call it Mitten Gaming. There we go. That's only one piece, so easy peasy. And that controls holiday visibility. Same as we did before. 0%. 0. Switch it to 1, 100%. Look at that. Holiday stuff. Take the gaming off, take the holiday off. Perfect. This has been a good learning experience for me as well, because it's going to make making any other kind of specialty outfit a lot easier as well. Now hold on. Holiday goes off. Gaming stays on. Okay. See, that warp looked funny to me for some reason, but I guess it's always been there. Alright, last piece is our microphone. Our holiday microphone. As you can see, we don't actually change the left-hand facing arm when we turn the microphone on, so we don't even have to worry about that. It's already set up. That just uses the idle information. Let's pop our mitten in place, our microphone mitten in place. And where'd you go? There you are. Spaceman, how do you hold a microphone with boxing gloves? Just like that. Movement is fine, yep, because it's copying the underlying animation. And last thing we need to do is create a warp deformer for that. We'll call it Mitten Mic. Apply keyforms to the holiday variable. Holiday's off. Opacity goes down to 0. Holiday's on. It comes right back up. Save. And that's our work for the evening. Now we gotta export it for runtime so that it's all good and ready to go. Let me just save that real quick. Yeah, we do want to replace that, thank you, because this is going to be our new production model, basically. It's got everything we need. Override the JSON file. Yes, we do. Saving. Now, I kind of worry sometimes that the more we add to this model, the more complex it's going to get in the long run. Are these file sizes going to balloon out of proportion? Thankfully, it hasn't been a huge issue yet. Okay, let's see here now. Copy all that, and in order to get this working on stream, we're just going to have to disappear for 1 second. So hold on, everybody, we'll be right back. You just enjoy that nice holiday music. I'm still here. Just invisible. And I'm actually going to need to okay, I can do this without showing everybody what's going on here. Now, because we are using the same holiday, parameter, can control the changes in our model that we set up last time for the scarf, we're not actually going to have to make any changes in the live 2D viewer, which is where we usually set up our expression poses, which also means that theoretically we shouldn't have to make any changes to the VTube Studio settings that we use. Let's just see if this works here. Bear with me just a couple more seconds. Okay, so everything looks nominal. Here's what we're gonna do. Let's head back on over to the main screen so we can see this all in action. And let's open up our model capture again. There we go. Properly positioned, okay, like we usually are. Now here's a moment of truth. We hit the same hotkey that we had set up before. And look at that, now we've got scarf and mittens going at the same time. Look at this. Don't we look festive? Don't we look set for the holidays? Now we just gotta test out our other hotkeys here. What happens if we bring up the tablet? Hey, there we go, we got mittens. How are we gonna control this thing with mittens? Who knows? It's space. We don't ask these kind of questions. All right, how about the video games? Oh yeah, how can you play with mittens covering up your fingers? Another question for the sages, for the ages, indeed. And last test, the microphone. There we go. Oh, there's no streams like ours for the holidays. And that, ladies and gentlemen, from start to finish, that's how we go from sketching to exporting to rigging to re-exporting to putting it back into facial tracking software. The mitts have touch cable threads. There you go. We got that conductivity going on. All in all, a pretty good evening, I gotta say. I mean, 3 hours to make some mittens. When you think about it, is, well, it's one way to spend your evening. But it's been the discussions that we've been having here, the reminiscing, the good times, the chit-chatting, the talking. That's been the fun part. Vector streams, best streams. I don't know about that, but I mean, we try. We try. And if we're the best streams, then it's only because we've got the best viewers who tune in night after night. Our wonderful Space Cadets. Knitting would take 10 times that? Well, come on. Oh, you know what I should have done? I'm just seeing it now. There's definitely room to add like a wavy, like sort of knitted yarn pattern on these gloves, on these mittens. Maybe I'll go back and add that kind of detailing off stream. Or we might just keep it as is. It's not bad for a once-in-a-while holiday outfit. Now I'm thinking, what's the next addition that we're going to have to make to the model? What's the next big holiday that's coming up? Ooh, I know what I wanted to do. Since we play stuff like Rocket League so often, I wanted to make some sort of jersey or something that we could wear on Rocket League Sundays or something like that. New Year's, that's right, yeah. A little top hat, one of those little clickety-clackers or some blowers or something. One of those, you know? Options, options, options. We might have to start doing art streams every week or something. Jeez. We're gonna turn... sort of like what Ellie was saying earlier, we're gonna turn Spaceman into our own Flash dress-up game, basically. Oh, that'll be fun, though. Also, we're all ready for Vector Karaoke stream. That's true, that's true. We're gonna have to set that up one of these days. It's not gonna be tonight, though. Sorry to disappoint. But with 3 hours in, we're gonna have to get some sleep. It's getting late. Time moves different out here in space. VTubers are just dress-up dolls with extra steps. True, true. Much more interactive, and they yell back at you. Well, I don't know what else we could possibly say. We may just have to call it just like that, everybody. Once again, I want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight, wherever and whenever you are. Whether you were watching us live tonight, whether you were one of the many who joined our Space Cadets, took us far and away well past our goal of 50 followers by the new year. I mean, goodness gracious, didn't we have an absolute riot here tonight? Are we rating? Here's another thing. I don't know how to do that. That's another thing we're going to have to figure out. That's another thing we're going to have to get sorted now that we're getting a little bigger as a channel. Thanks for the stream. Congrats on the 50. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Space Buffoon, for tuning in. Tetralemnus, Lyra, everybody, Manayu, everybody that's been chilling out here tonight. Geez, let me look at this list here. This is out of bounds. I'm talking about Mossmellow, who was here. I'm talking about Regil, who was here. I'm talking about Ryder, who's no longer in the chat, but of course I remember him tuning in. All these nameless folks here sitting in the chat as well. Shoutouts to everybody. Thanks for supporting the channel. We're going to keep trying to take the channel to new heights in the new year and beyond. So everybody, Space Cadets and all, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the other side. We're going to be back here tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, live at Harbor Station for some more holiday-themed events. I hope you tune in. I hope we get to see you again soon. Until then, everybody, no matter what life throws your way, good luck and Godspeed. This is Vector Spaceman, signing off.